Wow, so yeah,
Wait, it's saying I cannot
slowly.
screen share. Why does it say that? Post stable screen sharing.
Just a sec. Try now.
Yep, all set. Okay, thanks. Okay. So, Ekta, how much do you know about the play?
Not much. We had a bit in school.
Okay, so I'll give you the broad strokes. Okay, so the play is about a Scottish prince named Macbeth, and what happens is that he's doing very well. He's fighting well. He's a brave warrior, but he comes across these three witches who give him a prophecy, and one of the prophecies is that he'll become king of Scotland. So he gets very greedy about that, and to fulfill that prophecy, he goes ahead and kills the king himself. And his wife is completely with him on this. She also wants what he wants. And because he kills the king, the king's children run away because they're afraid. But nobody knows that he's killed them, or nobody has any evidence that he's killed them. So because he's killed them, because he's killed the king has two sons, Malcolm and Donalbain, and they run away. And there's another nobleman who by the name of Macduff, and he's going to be kind of figuring prominently today. Macduff is also another nobleman, but he doesn't trust Macbeth. He suspects that Macbeth did something. So these are, you could call them the people who are against Macbeth. In Macbeth's side is Lady Macbeth, who's close to him, and not very much else. He has also gone ahead and killed his very close friend Banquo, because the witches told him that Banquo's children would become kings of Scotland. And he didn't want to hear that, so he killed Banquo, but Banquo's son escaped. His name is Fleance. Okay? All right. Please.
And now Macbeth is seeing ghost of Banquo.
Yeah. So what Macbeth is doing now is that he had a dinner, and in that dinner he saw the ghost of Banquo, and he got really rattled. So he told his wife, "That's it. I don't care what the fates say. I'm going to meet my fate head on. I'm going to go tomorrow early morning and meet the witches and find out what they say to me. I have to know more." And his wife is like, "Okay, you're kind of nuts. You're kind of tired. Get some sleep." But he's not listening. Okay. All right. You start.
Yeah.
Okay. So scene 5, a heath. Enter the three witches meeting Hecate. Hecate is the goddess of mischief and the goddess of witches, I think. Okay. Why? How now, Hecate? You look angrily. Have I not reason, beldams as you are, saucy and overbold? How did you dare to trade and traffic with Macbeth in riddles and affairs of death? And I, the mistress of your charms, that close contriver of all harms, was never called to bear my part or show the glory of our art. So they see her. She's kind of their superior, the witches, and they tell her, "You look angry." She says, "I am angry because you've gone ahead and messed around with Macbeth in his life, and you've told him riddles. You've told him about what to do, how he can proceed, and this is a matter of life and death. People are dying because of this. And I am the mistress of your charms. I am in charge of all that, and you never called me to participate in this or run this by me before you did it. And which is worse, all you have done hath been but for a wayward son, spiteful and wrathful, who as others do, loves for his own ends, not for you. Which is the worst of all is that everything you've done to advance a guy who's not worth it. He's spiteful, he's wrathful, he's a wayward son. He doesn't, like everybody else, he loves for his own ends, and he doesn't do it for you guys or anything else. But make amends now, get you gone, and at the pit of Acheron, meet me in the morning. Thither he will come to know his destiny. Your vessels and your spells provide, your charms and everything beside. She said, "Okay, now we'll try to fix what we've done. Go ahead, meet me at the pit." Acheron is one of the rivers of Hades in Greek mythology. So I don't know if... So that's where they meet. It says, "Meet me in the morning." He's going to show up in the morning to find out what his destiny is. So you will provide the spells to tell him what is going to happen in his life. "I am for the air, this night I'll spend unto a dismal and a fatal end. Great business must be wrought ere noon upon the corner of the moon. There hangs a vaporous drop profound, I'll catch it ere comes to ground." So she's saying, I'm going back into the air. Tonight I'll work towards a very disappointing and a fatal end. People are going to die, and a lot of work has to be done. I have to take a drop of water from the corner of the moon, and that distilled by magic sleights shall raise such artificial sprites as by the strength of their illusion shall draw him on to his confusion. So by using that draw, uh, I will be able to show magic, and artificial sprites is a word for ghosts or spirits. Okay, so and by dazzling him and deluding him, I will make him even more confused. He shall spurn fate, scorn death, and bear. He hopes above wisdom, grace, and fear. And you all know security is mortal's chiefest enemy. So, Sumit, this is one thing I told you the other day. Back then, some words were pronounced differently. I found that bear was also pronounced beer almost.
Okay. Hello?
Can I ask you that these witches and this Hecate and all choose Macbeth for all this? I mean, what is there any reason given why they have picked him out to, ruin him, as it were?
Because otherwise it would be a play about Banco. I don't know. I mean,
Okay, all right.
There's no reason. I mean, the way the fates work is that they choose someone, right? I mean, it's all
okay.
If you question that, then you were getting into real trouble. There's no specific reason for picking Macbeth. Yeah.
Yes? I think this is going to be my default response to any Shakespeare play. But is this the first time that Wayward Son has been used in anywhere?
Which one? Wayward?
Wayward Son.
Oh, I am not sure actually. I don't think if that is a phrase from Macbeth. I'll have to take a look.
No, it's here, no?
It is here,
but Wayward Son.
So what is asking is if has it been used before in English? This is going to be Sumit's default question anytime you ask him.
Because there's a song by Kansas.
Yeah, it was definitely used before Kansas, that's for sure.
No, wayward is a very common word actually, I mean, more Regency type, but still it is there in the language. Yeah.
One of the things about Shakespeare is that you have to remember he had access to far fewer words than we do.
Yeah.
And one of his great inventions was how he grouped words together, and the jumping in his mind where he thought different words work together. That's where he really cemented his genius, as far as I'm concerned.
Even created words, right?
He created a lot of words. Yeah, I think 300 or 1300, one of the numbers. He created a lot of words. But he also made a lot of words more popular. It's said that a lot of words that he used were very rarely used, and because he had a bigger audience and more fame, a lot of times they got credited to him. Being dead, he didn't deny any of it, I guess. So he said, he shall spurn fate, scorn death, and bear. He hopes above wisdom, grace, and fear. Says he's going to thumb fate. He's going to not worry about death, and he hopes that he is above wisdom. And his hopes are above wisdom, grace, and fear. He's beyond all those things. And so as you all know, security is mortal's chiefest enemy. He says overconfidence is what always hurts people the most. The song within, come away, come away. Hark, I am called, my little spirit, see, sits in a foggy cloud and stays for me. So that's just some witch stuff she's just calling. Come, let's make haste. She'll soon be back again. So the witches run away. Now in the palace and forest, Lennox and somebody else is talking. I read that this paragraph, you have to read it as sarcastic, okay? He's saying what he says in this paragraph, he means it all sarcastically, all right? He's talking to the other guy, he says, my former speeches have but hit your thoughts, which can interpret further. He says, what I'm saying is also what you're thinking. Only I say things have been strangely born. So this whole affair has been strange. The gracious Duncan was pitied of Macbeth. Marry, he was dead. He says, Macbeth pitied Duncan, but only after he was dead. And the right valiant Banquo walked too late, whom you may say, if it pleased you, Fleance killed. He says, and it looks like Fleance killed Banquo. For Fleance fled. Men must not walk too late. So he's joking, saying it's very dangerous to walk out late at night. Who cannot want the thought how monstrous it was for Malcolm and for Donald Bain to kill their gracious father. I can't imagine the mindset that Malcolm and Donald Bain must have had to kill their father. Damn fact. How it did grieve Macbeth. Did he not straight in pious rage the two delinquents stare that were the slaves of drink and thralls of sleep? So he's saying how sad Macbeth got. Immediately he killed the two guards who were there. Was not that nobly done? And wisely too. For it should have angered any heart alive to hear the men deny it. He says, wasn't it amazing how quickly and well he did it? And it was very smart that he did it, because anybody who would, if those guys had been alive and said that they denied it, they would have been angered. But what he's hinting at is that Macbeth would not have liked to hear them say it. So that I say, he has borne all things well. And I do think that had he Duncan's son under his key, and as an pleasant heaven he shall not, they should find what were to kill a father. And he says, he has done everything well. And in case he had Duncan's sons in jail, and thank God he doesn't, they would find out how he would treat someone who killed their father. So should Fleance. And he would do the same thing to Fleance. So he's hinting that Macbeth has done it, and he's being sarcastic about how well he's handled the whole thing. But peace, for from broad words and cause he failed, his presence at the tyrant's feast. I hear Macduff lives in disgrace. So he's saying, but I heard that Macduff is now not in Macbeth's good favors because of saying injudicious things, for saying things that hinting that Macbeth may be guilty, and also because he didn't show up at the feast. Sir, can you tell where he bestows himself? So where is Macduff now? He's asking the other guy. The other guy doesn't get a name. Okay. The son of Duncan, for whom this tyrant holds the due of birth, lives in the English court. So Duncan's son is in England. For whom this tyrant holds the due of birth means Macbeth is holding what is due to the son of Duncan, which is the throne of Scotland, and is received of the most pious Edward with such grace that the malevolent of fortune nothing takes from his high respect. It says, and Edward is so welcoming to Duncan's son that there's no black mark on his son around having the suspicion that he's killed his father. So basically, Edward trusts that Malcolm did not do that. Thither Macduff is gone to pray the holy king upon his aid to wake Northumberland and warlike seaward. So Macduff is also gone there, and he's also looking to rouse Northumberland and seaward, two other kings, that by the help of these, with him above to ratify the work, we may again give to our tables meat, sleep to our nights, free from our feasts and banquets, bloody knives, to faithful homage and receive free honors. He says, with those people, hopefully, and with God's help, we will have peace again. We'll have food on our tables, we'll sleep peacefully, and we won't have to bring knives to banquets and feasts. All which we pine for now. And this report hath so exasperated the king that he prepares for some attempt of war. So Macbeth has heard that Macduff is going to England, and that Duncan is staying, no, not Duncan, Malcolm is staying with King Edward of England. So Macbeth is preparing for war. Sent he to Macduff? Has he called for Macduff? He did. And with an absolute, sir, not I, the cloudy messenger turns me his back and hums as who should say, you'll rue the time that clogs me with this answer. He says he sent a messenger, and Macduff said, no, I'm not coming. And the messenger turned his back as if to say, one day you'll regret that you gave me this answer. And that well might advise him to a caution to hold what distance his wisdom can provide. So that response from the messenger will probably make Macduff be careful and keep some distance for a while. Some holy angel fly to the court of England and unfold his message, here he come, that a swift blessing may soon return to this our suffering country under a hand accursed. He says, I hope that some angel goes to England and tells them that they have to come back here. So we need that blessing to remove this country that is suffering under this cursed hand. I'll send my prayers with him. Okay, Act 4. Now this is the middle of a cavern. The witches are doing what they do. Thrice the brinded cat hath mewed, thrice and once the hedge pig whined. So they're using cats, hedgehogs, They put all these as ingredients into their cauldron, right? Harpier cries, 'tis time, 'tis time. Harpier is one of the witches' pets or something. Round about the cauldron go, in the poison entrails throw. Toad that under cold stone days and nights has 31. Sweltered venom sleeping got, boil thou first in the charmed pot. So we're saying we'll go around the cauldron, we'll throw all the entrails of these animals. The first thing is a toad that she's kept under a rock for 31 days. So it's exuding venom, and she's boiling that. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. I have no idea what this means. It's just a chant.
This is in Harry Potter.
It is, huh?
Yeah.
So maybe Shakespeare got it from that. I don't know. Fillet of a fenny snake in the cauldron, boiled and baked. Just cut a slice from a fenny. What does fenny mean? God, I would say a swamp snake. Okay. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, adder's fork and blind worm's sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing. So these are all different animal parts. For the charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth, boil and bubble. So just to create a charm that'll boil like it's in hell. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw and gulf, of the raven's salt sea shark, root of hemlock dig in the dark, liver of blaspheming Jew, gall of goat and slips of yew, silvered in the moon's eclipse, nose of Turk and Tartar's lips, finger of birth strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab, make the gruel thick and slab, and there too a tiger's chaudron for the ingredients of our cauldron. So this is all different ingredients. A drab is a prostitute. So one of the things is the fingers of a babe. If a child is born out of wedlock, sometimes if it did not have the right social standing, it would be killed maybe by a prostitute to deliver it. So they're taking that finger, the nose of a Turk. A Tartar is somebody from a Mongolian. That area is called Tartar. So everything else is just a blaspheming Jew, a goat's gal, and all that stuff. Okay. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Cool it with the baboon's blood, then the charm is fire and good. Enter Hecate. Oh, well done, I commend your pains, and everyone shall share in the gains. And now about the cauldron sing, like elves and fairies in a ring, and chanting all that you put in, and they sing. By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Open locks, whoever knocks. I think this is the first usage of this phrase, by the pricking of my thumbs, which is also the title of an Agatha Christie book.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing.
And it's a very
it's a very
it's an usage, literally.
yeah, it's a very good it's a very good phrase. So she's saying
I remembered the Agatha Christie book only.
Yeah, that's where I first read it actually.
Yeah.
Maybe the only time I read it. So anyway, so he's saying that I feel a tingling in my fingers, someone's coming. She tells the doors to get unlocked and whatever. So if you notice something between where we left out last time and here, it's been a scene and a half with no Macbeth, no Malcolm, no Macduff, no Lady Macbeth. Now this is a construct that he put in so that when it's on stage, the guy is acting as Macbeth, and they can get off stage, change costume, have a drink, just relax a little bit and get prepared for the next scene. Because one of the unwritten rules of stage is that somebody who's on a scene when it ends should not be on the next scene when it starts, because it's too demanding for the actors. So that's what he's done here. How now, you secret black and midnight hags? What is it you do? He's greeting them.
Shankar, what's that music and a song?
So when they're going around the cauldron, they're singing. They have this. They have a magic song that they'll sing to just make the potion boil, or make the potion poisonous, or make it do what they want it to do. So
what is that seed? Black spiritual seed?
I don't know. Let's see if it's there in my book too. Hold on. Give me a second.
And Shankar, what is that? Tiger's children or something? There's something like that. What is that?
Yes, I read that, and I got two completely different meanings. One says it's the entrails of a tiger, and then they say that it's an old word for cauldron. But I don't see how it can be cauldron, because the next line also has cauldron.
So it must be
the entrails of a tiger. So, and it also says that it may be the feistiness and the anger of a tiger. So I don't know how they'll capture that to put it in, but they're witches, so I guess they have their own rules. So I don't know what this and C is here. I'll just check this stage direction and find out and let you know.
Yeah.
And C. Okay. It might be about where Hecate retires. I don't know. Maybe the direction of that, like exit left, exit right. I don't know. Okay. What is it you do? A deed without a name. So what we're doing, we can't tell you. It's just, I conjure you by that which you profess, however you come to know it, answer me. I'm going to ask you, however you get to know it, I don't know, but tell me. Though you untie the winds and let them fight against the churches, though the yeasty waves confound and swallow navigation up, though bladed corn be lodged and trees blown down, though castles topple on their warders' heads, though palaces and pyramids do slope their heads to their foundations, though the treasure of nature's germans tumble all together, even till destruction sicken, answer me to what I ask you. So answer me, I don't care if you do all these things. If you unloosen the winds and let them blow against the church steeples, if you if the ocean waves climb so high that they swallow up all the ships, and though bladed corn be, if all the vegetation and crops are blown to the ground, if castles fall on the people who live in them, if palaces and pyramids do slide off their foundations, and if the treasure of nature's germs, if all nature's beings and germs get together, even if they get to destruction, I don't care. I want you to answer what I'm going to ask you. Speak, demand, we'll answer. Say if thou'st rather hear it from our mouths or from our masters. So the witch says, do you want to hear it from us or our masters? Call him, let me see him. Pour in so's blood that hath eaten her 9 pharaoh, grease that's sweaten from the murderer's gibbet throw into the flame. So they're throwing the blood from a pig that's eaten its 9 babies, and the grease from a gibbet is a, what is it? It's the gallows where they used to hang and kill people. So this the sweat from the gibbet that's hung someone, a murderer, and they're throwing that into the flame. Come high or low, thyself and office deftly show. Says, wherever you are, come and show. First apparition, an armed head shows up. Tell me, thou unknown power, he knows thy thought. Hear his speech, but say thou not. So Macbeth starts talking, and the witch says, he knows what you're thinking. Just listen to him, but don't say anything. Macbeth, 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 beware Macduff, beware the Thane of Fife. Dismiss me enough. So he says, be scared, be worried about Macduff. Whatever thou art, for thy good caution, thanks. Thou hast harped my fear aright. But one word more. Says, okay, whoever you are, I'm glad you've convinced me that what I'm fearing is correct. And he starts and says, he will not be commanded. He's asking one more question, but the first one says, he will not be commanded. Here's another, more potent than the first. The second apparition comes up. It's a bloody child. Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth. Had I 3 years, I'd hear thee. So if I had 3 years, I'd use all of them to listen to what you're saying. Be bloody, bold, and resolute. Laugh to scorn. The power of man, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth. This is be bold, kill whoever you want, be determined. Remember, you can laugh at men because nobody born of a woman will ever kill you. So now he's delighted. Then live, Macduff. He says, then Macduff can live. What need I fear of thee? But yet I'll make assurance double sure and take a bond of fate. Thou shalt not live, that I may tell pale-hearted fear it lies and sleep in spite of thunder. First he says, okay, then Macduff can live. What should I fear? Then he says, no, I'll confirm, I'll make sure that nothing is going to happen, and I'll take a decision. He will not live. So that I can tell my heart that my fear can rest and I can sleep in spite of thunder because I'm taking care of this. And then there's a third apparition, a child crowned with a tree in his hand. What is this that rises like the issue of a king and wears upon his baby brow the round and top of sovereignty? Listen, but speak not with. What is this baby coming up with a crown? This third apparition. Be lion mettled, proud, and take no care who chafes, who frets, or where conspirers are. It says, be brave like a lion and be proud. Then don't worry about who worries about you or who disagrees with you. Okay. And don't worry about who disagrees with you or who resents you. This Macbeth will never be defeated until the great Birnam Wood moves and comes to Dunsinane Hall. Now he's twice as confident. That will never be. Who can impress the forest, bid the tree unfix his earth-bound root? There's nobody who can make the forest move or make the trees get up and come. Sweet bodements, such good omens. Good. Rebellion's head rise never till the wood of Burnham rise. And our high-placed Macbeth shall live the lease of nature, pay his breaths to time and mortal custom. He says, nobody's going to come and raise against me until this wood moves. So I will live a long and natural and a long life, and I will only die naturally. Yet my heart throbs to know one thing. Tell me, if your art can tell me, shall Banquo's issue ever reign in this kingdom? So he still can't get that out of his head. I'm fine, I'm not going to die. You have one of a woman, you can't kill me. The wood has to move to my palace, that's not going to happen. But I still have one question. Will Banquo's children ever reign? Seek no more, they say. They tell him, don't ask any more questions. I will be satisfied. Deny me this, and an eternal curse fall on you. So, he's cursing the witches. Let me know, why sinks that cauldron? And what noise is this? So apparently the cauldron vanishes. Hoy boys. Hoy boys is a music. It's an instrument. It's similar to an oboe. It was there back then. So that's a musical guidance. Show his eyes and grieve his heart. Come like shadows, so depart. So all the witches are saying, go ahead, show him, make him upset. Come in like shadows and leave the same way. 8 kings show up. The last one has a glass in his hand. When they say glass, they mean mirror. Ghost of Banquo follows. Thou art too like the spirit of Banquo. Down, thy crown does sear mine eyeballs. You look too much like him. And seeing you wearing the crown is burning my eyes. And thy hair, thou other gold-bound brow, is like the first. Your hair also looks like a crown. A third is like the former. The third ghost looks like the first ghost. Filthy hags, he's cursing the witches. Why do you show me this? A fourth, stark eyes. What will the line stretch out to the crack of doom? He says, how many successors of Banquo are there going to be? Another yet, a 7th, I'll see no more. And yet the 8th appears, who bears a glass, who shows me many more. So he's holding a glass with his never-ending line of kings. And some I see that twofold balls and treble scepters carry. So if you're carrying a twofold ball and treble scepter, it means that you'll be king of more than just one country. Horrible sight. Now I see it is true, for the blood-bolted Banquo smiles upon me and points at them for his. He says, now I see it's all going to be true. The blood-bolted Banquo means his hair is matted with blood in his vision. And Banquo is smiling and looking at and pointing to the images of his descendants becoming kings. And they vanish. What, is this so? Aye, sir, all this is so. But why stands Macbeth thus amazedly? Come, sisters, cheer we up his sprites, and show the best of our delights. I'll charm the air to give a sound, while you perform your antic round, that this great king may kindly say, our duties did his welcome pay. So somehow the witches are surprised that he's unhappy. And they say, why? Let's make him happy. And they sing, I'll give you a sound, and while you run down, they sing. The witches dance and vanish. Where are they? Gone. Let this pernicious hour stand accursed in the calendar. Come in without there. So he's like, where are they gone? Let this hour, when they told me this proclamation, be a cursed hour forever. Somebody's out there, so he's calling them in.
What do you mean by pernicious?
Pernicious means dishonest, not good. It's
Okay.
deceitful or dishonest. 1 second, I'll get you the right meaning.
I guess. Total.
Having a harmful effect, especially in a gradual way.
What is it?
It means having a harmful effect, especially in a gradual or subtle way. Thank you, Google. Okay, so Lennox enters. So, what's your grace's will? Saw you the weird sisters? He says, did you see them? No, my lord. Came they not by you? Did they go past you? No, indeed, my lord. Infected by the air whereon they ride. So they're poisoning the air around them so that only he can see them. And damned all those that trust them. And they're cursing everyone who trusts them. I did hear the galloping of horse. Who was it came by? So I heard a horse. Who's come by? It says 2 or 3. It's 2 or 3, my lord, that brings you word. Macduff is fled to England. So 2 or 3 messengers have come to tell you that Macduff has run away to England. Fled to England? My good lord. So in the previous scene, if you remember, we were talking about Macbeth already being aware that Malcolm is in England and he's preparing for war. And it seems like those scenes, that and this, have happened in parallel, or they're out of sync. In terms of, in that, it sounds like Macbeth already knew. Anyway, it's not a major point. Time thou anticipatest my dread exploits. The flighty purpose never is overtook unless the deed go with it. He says, the flighty purpose, like, there's no point having an ambitious thing to do unless you do it fast. The time is thwarting my plans. It's anticipating my bad plans, and it's stopping me. From this moment, the very firstlings of my heart shall be the firstlings of my hand. Because from now on, when I think it, I'm going to do it. Firstling is what it is it's the first agricultural produce or an animal offspring that's born in a season. It's called the firstling. So he's saying, the moment it happens in my heart, I'm going to do it. And even now, to crown my thoughts with acts, be it thought and done. And now I'm going to, whatever I'm thinking, I'm going to do. If it's thought, it's done. The castle of Macduff I will surprise. I'm going to his, a surprise means attack, actually, in this state. Seize upon fight. Give to the edge of the sword his wife, his babes, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line. So I'm going to kill everyone in his house, his wife, his children, and anybody else in his lineage. No boasting like a fool. This is not an empty promise. This deed I'll do before this purpose cools. I'll finish this before my desire to do it cools down. But no more sights. Where are these gentlemen? Come, bring me where they are. He says, no more ghostly visions, apparitions. Come on, bring me these guys I talked from. Now, this is Fife, Macduff's castle.
Shankar?
Yes.
This scene ends with bring me where they are. So is sometimes they use art and sometimes he uses R.
I think it's just a choice. They both mean the same. Now, arts and art is more old, and maybe they're just moving towards art, and they use both. I think they interchange it. You're right. It's not.
I thought it was definite, like they used art back then, and then it transitioned to art. But
I think there's places where he uses art and doused and all that, and then he says you, and so it's not completely the old English. It's not completely the new English. It's kind of a blend.
Maybe he went with what flowed better in the
what sounds better on this.
What sounds better,
it could be. It could be that, absolutely.
Shankar, what does this mean? The flighty purpose never is overtook unless the deed go with it. What does that mean?
He says having an ambitious aim is not enough unless the action is done. There's no point saying I must kill my enemies. So the purpose is not overtaken unless it's not completed until the deed goes with it. There's no point saying I'll kill my enemies and sit back. Now on, this is from now on. If I think it, I'm going to do it. And,
right.
Okay. Yeah. Scene 2, Macduff's castle. This is a very sad scene, by the way. So take out your handkerchiefs or whatever. What had he done to make him fly the land? So this is Lady Macduff asking Ross why Macduff has left. Okay. All right. So she said, why did he leave? You must have patience, madam. He had none. His flight was madness. When our actions do not, our fears do make us traitors. She says he had no patience. He ran away. It was a mad thing to do. Even though he was not a traitor, his fear that he would be caught by Macbeth has made him behave like a traitor. You know not whether it was his wisdom or his fear. So Ross is defending Macduff. Like, you don't know if it was a wise thing to do or scared. Wisdom, to leave his wife, to leave his babes, his mansion and his titles in a place from whence himself does fly. So how can you call it wisdom? He left his wife, he left his children, his house, his mansion, not house, and everything in this place where he himself doesn't want to stay. He loves us not. He wants the natural touch. He's lacking the natural touch. For the poor wren, the most diminutive of birds, will fight her young ones in her nest against the owl. She's saying even a small wren will fight against an owl, even if it's overpowered. It will fight to protect its babies. And this whole scene has a bird motif, actually.
What is a wren?
A wren is a bird. It's a I don't know what to say. It's a Like in the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts were they could be qualified as
It's a
wrens, but
small brown bird.
I don't. Yeah, I know nothing about birds per se,
It's a
but I know
tiny brown bird.
yeah, okay, yeah.
So,
All is the fear and nothing is the love. She says, all he has is the fear and he doesn't have enough love. As little is the wisdom, where the flight so runs against all reason. So he should not have run, so he's not wise, and he just chose to run. My dearest cause, my dear cousin, I pray you, school yourself. She says, please learn what's going on. But for your husband, he is noble, wise, judicious, and best knows the fits to the season. So your husband is wise, la la la, and he knows what to do when. I dare not speak much further. I don't want to say anything more. But cruel are the times when we are traitors and do not know ourselves, when we hold rumor from what we fear, yet know not what we fear, but float upon a wild and violent sea, each way and move. It's a very, very sad, very harsh time when we're called traitors and we don't even know that we're called traitors. And we believe in rumors that scare us, and we're not even sure what it is we're scared about. Instead, we're like a ship on a violent sea and we're getting tossed around. I take my leave of you. Shall not be long, but I'll be here again. Things at the worst will cease, or else climb up to what they were before. He says, I'll be back soon. Don't worry. The worst thing is it'll stop, otherwise it'll get better. My pretty cousin, blessing upon you. Fathered he is, yet he is fatherless. She's looking at her son and saying this. She says, even though he has a father, he is not. So she already in her mind, Macduff is dead. Okay. I am so much a fool. Should I stay longer? It will be my disgrace and your discomfort. I take my leave at once. So Ross says, I can't stay here. It's just not helping you. So I'll leave for now. Sirrah, your father's dead. And what will you do now? How will you live? As birds do, mother. What? With worms and flies. What? You're going to be eating worms and flies like birds? With what I get, I mean. And so do they. Says, no, I meant as birds live off what they get, the same thing I'll do. Poor bird, thou'lt never fear the net nor lime, the pitfall nor the gin. So you poor thing, you never know what traps are out there as a bird. You can have pitfalls, you can have nets. I couldn't get what lime was. It must be some other kind of trap. Why should I, mother? Poor birds, they are not set for. My father is not dead, for all you're saying. So the son is making a small joke. He's saying, you little bird, you don't know how many traps are out there. And he says, why should I worry? The traps are not set for poor birds. And I'm a poor bird, as you said. My father is not dead, for all you're saying. Even though you say so, my father is not dead. Yes, he is dead. How wilt thou do for a father? Nay, how will you do for a husband? He says, what are you going to do for a father? He says, what are you going to do for a husband? Why, I can buy me 20 at any market. So she's pretty confident. She says, I can get 20 men to marry me. Then you buy them to sell again. She says, but you won't be faithful to them. You'll buy them, then you'll let go of them again. So he says, thou speakest with all thy wit, and yet with faith, with wit enough for thee. She says, you're very witty, but you're speaking for the wit commensurate to your age. Was my father a traitor, mother? That he was. So she believes he was a traitor, okay? What is a traitor? Why, one that swears and lies. And be all traitors that do so? So it says, is everyone who swears and lies a traitor? Everyone that does so is a traitor and must be hanged. And must they all be hanged that swear and lie? Everyone. Who must hang them? Why, the honest men. Then the liars and swearers are fools, for they are liars and swearers now to beat the honest men and hang them up. He says, if the liars and swearers let honest men hang them up, they're idiots, because they're far more liars and swearers than honest men, so they can easily overpower them. There's a little bit of social criticism you could take it. Now, God help thee, poor monkey, but how wilt thou do for a father? If he were dead, you'd weep for him. If you would not, it were a good sign that I should quickly have a new father. The son says, if he was really dead, you'd be crying. If you weren't crying, then it means that you're probably ready to get a new husband. Poor prattler, how thou talkst. You're just rambling on. Messenger. Bless you, fair dame, I am not to you known. Thou in your state of honor, I am perfect. He says, God bless you. You don't know who I am, but just know that you can trust me. I doubt some danger does approach you nearly. I think some danger is coming to your house. If you will take a homely man's advice, be not found here. If you can take a simple man's advice, please don't stay here. Hence, with your little ones, to fright you thus, methinks, I am too savage. He says, with your kids, go away. I am frightening you. You think I am too savage. To do worse to you were fell cruelty, which is too nigh your person. He says, if I weren't to tell you this, that would be even more cruel to you, and that is not something you deserve. Heaven preserve you. I dare abide no longer. Whither should I fly? I have done no harm. But I remember now I am in this earthly world. Where should I go? I have not done anything wrong. But I remember now I'm on earth, where to do harm is often laudable. To do good, sometimes accounted dangerous folly. Where sometimes to do a bad thing, you get credit. And to do good sometimes can cause real danger. Why then, Alice, do I put up that womanly defense to say I have done no harm? So then why am I complaining like a woman saying that I've done no harm? Then the murderers come in. What are these faces? Where is your husband? I hope in no place so unsanctified where such as thou mayst find him. He says, where's your husband? He says, I hope he's not in a degenerate place where someone like you can find him. He is a traitor. Thou liest, thou shag-haired villain. The son, huh? What you egg? He stabs the son. Young fry of treachery. The child of a traitor. He has killed me, mother. Run away, I pray you. He's asking his mother to run away. Okay, so it's 9 o'clock. Can we go on for one more scene, or do we stop now, Sumit?
This was
a
good scene.
It was a good scene. A lot of action.
Yeah. Also, dialogues are like normal dialogues, like
Exactly.
one line dialogue.
Yeah. And you notice that when the witches speak, it is all in rhyme. It's all And then when these
Shankar,
yes.
when Macduff knows that he's in danger, why doesn't he take the family? Why does he himself run away?
Because he doesn't expect Macbeth to be that evil. There was a code back then where if kings fought, you did not wipe out their family. Okay. Invariably, you would have kings fighting, and it was normal. If you had a king and a warrior for a husband, you expect him, that he can die at any moment. But you have to be very dishonorable, insecure, evil person to go after a family. When, like she says, she hasn't done anything, and it doesn't make sense. So, because if you think of it, even from Macbeth's point of view, Macduff is the enemy. So even if he felt that Macduff was dangerous, why would he kill Macduff's wife and son? They are no threat to him.
And here, obviously, the son has died, and the Lady Macbeth is, they are.
Yeah, she also dies.
She also dies, right?
She dies off screen. Everybody dies off screen in this play. Like Duncan and Lady Macbeth. In the next scene, we know that she's dead. Yeah, he kills them both. He kills everyone in their house, which is extreme, to say the least. That's what he does.
And he built their characters so well in this.
Doesn't he? With just a few lines. That kid is funny. Isn't
yeah. Shag-haired bastard.
Yeah. And he says, poor bird, you don't know the traps. They don't set traps for poor birds. It's a good point, right?
Yeah.
Very clever. But yeah, it puts such beautiful words. Actors, just the first thing to do once you join an acting school, right, to read Shakespeare and you find out the monologues. And Macbeth has a lot of monologues from Macbeth. And even Lady Macbeth has a few monologues, which are considered like the acme, the best challenge for the actor to do and the best treat for them to do. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
It is because the witches showed him the prophecy. Is it because of that his character developed that way? I'm wondering if he would be evil without the witches' interference.
Well, that's going to be a question. That's a question for very good psychiatric analysis, right? If you think about it, the witches made him proclamations, but they also made Banquo proclamations, right? Banquo they said that your sons will be kings. So Banquo never went mad about it, saying that let's go. Let's do what we have to. Let's kill Duncan and make my
Snail,
son
let's
king.
take a picture before you go.
Yeah, Snail, please. Everybody turn on your cameras.
Yeah.
Ekta and Shirisha.
You guys here? Ekta, Shirisha? We'll take,
Yeah, let's go ahead.
yeah, smile.
Smile. Oh my God. You always say that?
No. Just take it discreetly
Yeah.
without anyone noticing. And choose the one in which I look the best. So
I was thinking that only. How come out of
I can't believe today Akshanta asked for this photograph. I'm like, God, what is she doing? I'm like, she wanted to see how the framing is working and she has to move the photograph or something. You took the photo?
yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Nehal.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Shankar.
Yeah. Bye. Singh. Bye.
Bye. So if you guys want, we can chat a bit. I don't want to read anymore because people are left, but I'm happy to continue the discussion per se.
Yeah, I was saying, would he be that evil?
Yes. So my theory is that Macbeth had capability of evil. He was not a particularly strong man.
Yeah.
It's like the story of if you offer a bribe to two people and how
They both
similar
react,
conditions
yeah.
they both react differently, right? That's why the character of Banquo is used to contrast against Macbeth. If you think about it, in terms of the play, Banquo doesn't. The significance of Banquo is after he dies. Actually, his ghost comes and scares him and really throws Macbeth off. But Banquo's sons don't come into the play. It's not like Cleance becomes king and kills Macbeth in the last scene, something like that. But so the main point of Banquo is to show the evil of Macbeth. And I think
So, like, I just want to ask you. So, Macduff's wife and child was killed by it was conspired by Macbeth to kill them.
correct. He says so, no, very clearly.
Yeah.
He says, I don't have to kill Macbeth. Great. I don't have to kill Macduff. Great. But I will kill him anyway. That's really messed up. But and it turns out
After he was shown the visions by the witches, he was like, I don't have to kill them.
I don't have to kill them, but hey, in for a penny, in for a pound.
Yeah.
Why not just go for it? But
So
he's
that shows his inner evil side actually.
Correct.
He doesn't have to kill.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to kill. But
He didn't have to kill Banquo as well. He had to he could have killed their children instead of killing Banquo.
Well, I think he tried to.
the plan was for both. Yeah.
Okay.
He knows that if he sends someone to kill Banquo's son, he
Banquo
doesn't have to
lives.
kill Banquo. Then Banquo could have another son.
Could have another son, right?
So he has Banquo on his son. But plus not that, even if he kill Banquo's son, Banquo would come after him. So he'd have to kill Banquo on his son. No.
They should have given him a vasectomy. So it's
Yeah. Ask the witches to do something like that.
Yeah.
It's a beautifully structured play in that this point that Sumit said. I really like thinking about that. So is he inherently easily manipulatable towards evil, or is that what Shakespeare is commenting about condition of a lot of men? And many people. I mean, there's all these sayings: characters, what you are in the dark. And,
Exactly.
people cannot brag about being honest and non-deceitful. They never got the opportunity. Right? It's how you do it, what you do when you get the opportunity. Macbeth has failed on any test or moral character, and he's gone mad. His wife is kind of it a bit, and he's gone ahead and killed the king. Okay, and he was just rewarded as Thane of Cawdor. Right? He would have been happy, and it was for a moment he told her, "I will not do it," but again he was quickly switched again. So clearly, there's some. I mean, in every person, there's some good. You don't want to make. It would be much more boring if Macbeth said, "Yes, he said I'll be king. I'll tell my wife. I'll just cut his head off." The conflict is what makes the character interesting. So that's what he did, and he. Yeah,
Yes, he repents and repeats his actions.
I'm sorry,
Shankar,
Sunita. I think you're talking with your mute.
I think she's on mute.
You asked something, right?
yeah. What I was saying is that he repents when he sends the
But
murderers.
not much. He doesn't really. It's almost like he's repenting.
He repented the next day.
Yeah. And repeats
Now
the same things.
बाद में like ठीक है हो गया अभी
अभी ठीक हो गया. Now let's start killing women and children.
Yeah.
Sunita,
But
maybe
now that
maybe say
doesn't-
something also, right? Yeah, Sunita.
Yeah, I was saying there doesn't seem to be a conflict now as the play progresses. Initially, there was conflict. Now he's become totally unscrupulous, and
Yes, yes.
what you
yes.
all were saying is he evil or not? Is basically he has been exposed to temptation. That's when your real character kind of
Exactly.
comes out, and then the worst side of him. If that prophecy was not there, he would have still been evil, but maybe his action we would have never really known, kind of a thing. So
There's a line where he says that I'm halfway through this path, and to go ahead would take as much effort. To turn back now would take as much effort as it would to go ahead. So I might as well go ahead. So that is just his rationalization, right? It's like saying I've killed 20 people. What 20 more? They can only
Exactly.
hang me once.
Yeah.
that kind of-
Exactly. Yeah.
I think he's conflicted the first time because it's the first time.
Yeah.
Then he tasted blood, and then now he's,
Yes.
I think, on that.
Yes.
Now
And
he's
he
an
got the
expert.
rewards. I mean, it worked perfectly for him, right? He killed
Yeah.
Duncan, and everybody thought it was the sons, and everybody thought it was the guards who were sent by the sons to kill the father, and he became king. So he got exactly what he wanted. But the beautiful part is that he is not able to enjoy 1 minute of it. He's sitting, he's insecure,
Yeah.
he goes to these witches, and they tell him stuff that he likes to hear. That
Yeah.
a man born of a woman cannot kill him. The wood has to move, but it doesn't stop there. He says, "One last question." What
Which
about
shows,
that?
which shows
And that
his
really
greed,
messes up his head again. Like, damn it!
Yeah.
And that is beyond his control. So that's a commentary.
What was the last
You
question?
can't control all your fates. Huh?
What was the last question?
No, he asked the witches.
He
Can I
asked
ask
the
one more?
witches
And he
that if
like,
the son of
Banco's son will become the king.
Will
yeah, so
Banco's
they're like,
children
we
be
can't
king?
tell you.
And they said, sure. They show him
The
ghosts
Seven,
of Banco's
8
children.
ghosts.
They all look like Banco, and he gets all
7, 8.
messed up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's
Shankar,
like,
was the purpose of Hecate, what was her name?
Hecate.
Hecate.
Hecate. Was the purpose of Hecate is to provoke Macbeth for
Hecate
Yeah.
wasn't shown
to
to
be a
Macbeth.
strong or not to?
Yeah, Hecate is, her job is to create mischief and turmoil in the world. So right now she's focusing on Macbeth, and so she's
She's
just
actually leading the witches, if I'm not
correct.
wrong.
She's coordinating their efforts, you could say. In a certain way. They believed back then that the fates were very strongly involved, and I mean they gave names to the fates. I mean this is we're talking about 1606, okay? So what is it? 400 years since this play was written. It's a completely different time. I think they weren't even sure if the world was round, and they confirmed so many things. There were so many mysteries in the world that it not suited their purpose, but it was almost a better explanation to believe in witches and spirits than it was to believe in science, because science was very nascent. It was early days, so there's no way they could subscribe to it. If you told someone back then that you can split an atom, they would have laughed at you. That sounds as ridiculous as
They'll ask what is an atom.
yeah.
yeah, atom.
They'll ask what is an atom.
Yeah, exactly. So it's if you have to remember that you're reading when you read it that it's of their time. But these are all external devices, I would say. If you wrote the story today, you just find a different way. You know, you say somebody went to an astrologer, or somebody said they picked a card and they say, well, if you get this. So that's a device that the playwright is using to move the story along. The fundamental question of this play is what men do when given temptation, how they behave, and then how they never anticipate what the repercussions of that will be completely. And that is something that we see over and over again in fiction. It's not just unique to Shakespeare. That's all. Anytime somebody commits a crime or does something, even if they get what they want, it's never what they expect, right? It's always more or less, or they have not foreseen some difficulty, or they spend so much time chasing a goal that once they reach the goal, they don't know what to do. So there's always more that you do not anticipate. And it's not an argument that you have to be like Banco, because look, Banco ended up dying. So it's there are no winners in this paper that way. If you look at it that way, it's a tragedy that one man in a position of power and given more power, he chooses to chase his ambition, destroy lives of so many people. And to me, the saddest deaths are Macduff's wife and children. And Duncan, yes, it's sad, but he's a king. King will get killed. And Banco, yes, again, I was glad that Banco's son didn't die. But I knew that, kind of, when you read these plays, you know that the prophecies of the witch somehow we stuck to, right? Because they've made it, you have to make. If you don't make the prophecies of the witch true, then the play has no water. The play will collapse completely. Like, I went to kill Duncan, but he wasn't there, so I killed somebody else. That doesn't work.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Correct. By saying it, you make it happen, and by making it happen, then you make it true, and then you say, "Well, I knew it was going to happen."
So you cannot say it in isolation, right? You have to say it in front of the people that the prophecy is affecting. So it's like it's in a circular loop, the prophecy and the ones who are affected by the prophecy.
Correct. The prophecy is a single statement, but it won't tell you what will happen when the prophecy comes true, right? That's kind of human condition. Right? In another play,
it won't come true unless it's said in front of the ones whose it's about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, exactly. If Macbeth had taken a different road, we wouldn't have a play. We'd all be reading Othello or something. Right? So it's the 33rd play. He's written 32 plays before this.
37, I suppose.
Oh my!
Overall, he wrote 37 or 38.
He wrote. There's 42. There are Henry VI is. The three parts are considered as three different plays.
They are 3 plays, yeah.
Yes.
So he's written 42.
No, it's not 42. It's 37, isn't it?
37, yeah, 37.
I think at least in the Wikipedia page it shows as 42 plays.
Okay, maybe.
Somebody's gone in and updated today. One of Shakespeare's sisters.
He wrote 32 plays before this.
Also, sonnets.
Oh, sonnets are beautiful. And we had Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day in school, and my sister already liked poetry, so we started reading a lot of those sonnets in school. The sonnets are beautiful, actually. They are very tightly
Friends and Foes, yeah. You read Friends and Foes? That's nice.
All of them are a patron or a lover. People wonder who it was. And, I mean, all these scholars have nothing else to do, so they spend all their time thinking about who could Shakespeare have been talking about, which kind of missing the point a little bit to my point. Yeah. Nice.
So in this last act, Lady Macbeth is out of the scene.
She's not there at all. She will show up very soon.
So we don't know what she's thinking. She actually seemed wicked at start, but maybe she wasn't really as much as Macbeth now seems to be.
Yeah, well, I think he's acting his wickedness, but she's also pretty wicked. I mean,
in comparison, now she seems tame.
Yeah. In comparison, now she seems.
That's quite a husband and wife, quite a couple having no kids.
But she is the one who started it, right? She was the one who's like, you go and murder the king.
Yeah, that's what many people feel. They always assign the blame to her, and all these feminists get into a big tizzy about it. Like, no, Macbeth wanted it, and Lady Macbeth just gave him a nudge, and so that's back and forth. I mean, thank God Shakespeare is not alive, otherwise his Twitter account would be blowing up. How dare you make her the bad guy?
He would be cancelled by now.
Yeah. No, Netflix cannot pick up this story. It's not good enough.
Blaspheming Jew? What did you mean by blaspheming Jew?
You have to make Macbeth.
That was
there's no
liver of something blasphemy.
Yeah, liver of a blaspheming Jew.
Liver of a blaspheming Jew, yeah.
Liver of blasphemy.
Political correctness.
Merchant of Venice would have been burnt at the first. What is this? We're all Jews in Hollywood. How can you write this? Get out! No chance at all. Yeah.
Othello is a black guy, right?
Yeah, he's a Moor.
Yes, Othello is from Moors. Yeah.
A lot of Moors went to Spain and
yes.
And that's about that. The theme of that play is jealousy. Macbeth is ambition. Hamlet is indecision, I think. And Lear is.
Yeah.
I don't
but
know.
Shankar, in Othello, only Desdemona dies, right? Only one person.
Othello dies too.
Othello is about to kill himself, right? But he's,
no, I'm pretty sure Othello dies.
He's captured.
Iago dies too, I think.
Othello was about to kill himself when he knows the truth about Cassio and Desdemona.
No. He kills Desdemona because he suspects the truth.
Yes. But when the truth is revealed at the end,
he finds out that it's not true.
Yeah.
He kills Iago, then kills himself. I have to read it again.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, actually, the alert is in the title itself. It's called The Tragedy of Othello. So it's not the merry tale of Othello. It's not that.
Yeah, not many people die, but at least.
In Shakespeare plays, almost everyone dies. It's like,
oh my God, especially Hamlet. My God,
Hamlet,
Hamlet.
Last scene. The king dies, his wife dies, Hamlet dies.
Ophelia dies. Ophelia dies
in the first place.
Yeah.
She's the first one to die.
Technically, the first one to die is the king, but that's before the play starts, so we'll allow that.
Yes.
He just killed in a snap. There is no violence scene in his play, I think.
In Hamlet.
No, in this Macbeth.
Oh, there's a violence scene coming up in the last scene. So,
Okay.
and I'm
They
sure
were
Sumit will ask, how did they show this on stage? This stuff.
I was wondering about how did they show the apparitions and.
Yeah, they just project it onto a screen. That's easy enough, right?
Okay.
But there are some plays which are far more violent. There's a Shakespeare play called Titus Andronicus, which is very. I have not read it. I was put off by the summary, and I saw.
Even I have it in the book. I've not read it.
I'm not.
I saw a movie version of it, and I'll just give you a brief highlight of the gore in it. Okay, this is worse than Saw and all that. There's a girl who gets raped, and these two guys who rape her, they cut her tongue off and cut her arms off so that she can never name who her rapists are. So she is Titus' daughter. So Titus is pretty upset, as you may imagine. But he finds out somehow. I don't know how, but somehow he finds out. So it turns out it's this lady's two sons who did it. So he captures them and he kills them. And he invites the lady over for a banquet. And he serves her a mincemeat pie made of her sons.
Yes.
And
Oh
she
my God.
eats it. And after she eats it, he tells her. And here's the weird part. I mean, it's already very weird. But after he tells her, I think he kills her. And I'm thinking, why would he kill her? You know, she should live and suffer. Yeah, but it's a very weird play. It's one of the most polarizing plays of his. People have said that the violence is so gory that it's almost that he must have been making it as a comedy. You know, like a black comedy kind of thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Given how nuanced he is. Early play, so maybe he was just having fun. You know, he's just like, okay, kill, you know, like Quentin Tarantino on steroids.
Yeah, Tarantino. Yeah, I was thinking of that.
Wasn't there a scene in Game of Thrones where
Arya kills her.
no, and it is served.
It's served. The pie is served in the.
Yes.
So now you know the inspiration for that.
He kills. She
Horrible.
kills Frey's older Frey's children. And serves them.
and serves them.
Is there some Greek
I'm not a very Game of Thrones fan. I read few of the books, but that's it. My mother used to watch it every night. Now
I saw the first season and I was fine with it until the dragons showed up, and immediately I lost it. And then there's too many.
It's not really enough. Dragons.
Huh?
There are zombies in the first episode.
Yeah.
Oh, the white wing or something.
The White Walkers.
I thought that was a horror film never seen when I saw the first scene.
I just thought it was like a snowy area and I wasn't sure, but I was interested enough. And once I got conclusive proof that they were dragons, I'm like, oops, thank you very much. And I'm glad I backed out when I did, because apparently my friends told me that season 2 is all full characters, different characters, and the Red Wedding, apparently everybody dies and a whole set of new characters come in. And
it's very good until the last season. Last season is terrible.
Yeah. The ending was horrible. Very horrible.
Really
so it's the last season where they went ahead of Martin's
ahead of the books. They ran out of the material, so they had to make up their own.
I've read 3 or 4 of the books, not all. And the books are quite heavy. They're this fat long.
I know. They're like wrist snappers. Yeah. Good night, Shirisha. This is the only contribution from Shirisha. She's been quiet. Didn't come on the photo. And maybe she's surrounded by people. Let's give her a break. Not tease her today.
Pallavi joined even after the photo. So she's just here for the discussion.
You know. Pallavi, what happened?
I completely lost track of time.
Okay. So you came
For the photo.
Yeah, you even missed the photo, I think.
She missed the photo, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess it's something that you joined late. I mean, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
hello guys, I got to go.
Yeah.
Good night.
Monday, yep.
Bye.
Good
night.
Have fun.
Good night.
Bye.
We've recorded this, so
great.
If anyone wants to rewatch this,
yes.
I don't know why you would.
I will definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people might watch it, and I don't think anyone would
rewatch it. Yeah.
We're not staging the play for doing up.
Actors don't watch their movies, no? So we are part of this, so we wouldn't.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. But I must admit, I watched the first one you recorded just to see how my pronunciation and diction was, whether I was speaking too fast. Because I asked you guys, everyone's going to be polite and say it's nice. But I wanted to get.
You're wonderful.
Yeah, you were
great, definitely.
Yeah, he was fishing for it. He was fishing for it.
Compliment, yeah. At least let me say it now, so I sound self-deprecating.
Sorry,
Stepping over stepping over my own stick.
no, it's not easy to speak for so long. You get tired really.
Anyway,
Yeah.
thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers. So we'll
Bye
see you on
bye.
Yeah,
Bye,
bye.
guys.
Monday.
Bye bye.
And
Bye.
tomorrow
Bye.
we have sessions every day. So
Hey,
Oh, I
what's
thought
on
we were
Saturday?
meeting
I wanted to
tomorrow
ask
for
you, what is
Macbeth.
on
I thought
Saturday?
you said tomorrow.
tomorrow,
What is on
Saturday,
tomorrow?
we don't have anything fixed this Saturday.
Okay.
Because Arjun's session was supposed to happen, but he has some other session. The TQT session is there. I don't think any session would happen this Saturday.
Two Saturdays free. All right.
Yeah.
Shankar, I had to tell you that there is this Doordarshan serial called Katha Sagar. I don't know how many people remember it.
Yes,
It was
yes,
on all
I
the
remember. I remember
It's
nicely. Yeah.
It's being re-shown again every day morning if anybody is
it, huh?
interested.
Oh,
Yeah,
short
today it
stories,
was Today it was O. Henry's Last Leaf, Hindi televised version. So it's every day at 8:30 on DD if anybody is interested.
Okay.
All right. I don't have TV, so I've disconnected my TV.
But YouTube, you can watch it on
Yeah, I
YouTube.
can watch it.
Every morning at 8:30. That's like midnight for me.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're up at midnight anyway, so what's wrong?
Yeah.
It's not really at
You
midnight.
can
Like,
watch it and go back to sleep now.
But I remember Tasa going very good. They used to do
Yeah.
classic stories and
Yes.
enact them.
I think they used all, very popular author stories.
So, yeah.
I remember The Open Window. Somehow I remember that story very well.
Oh, they did. Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, it was
We read it in our book group. Remember, Sumit?
Open window.
Yeah.
What it is about?
What's it about?
It's about this guy who has a health condition and he goes to the country, and his wife or someone in family tells him, meet so and so. So he goes to their house to meet them. And they're not in the home. Oh, the lady's home. But her daughter opens the
And
window.
the
And she
Saki,
says, oh,
Saki
yes.
story.
And and he says, why do you have the window open? Oh, we have the window open because something really scary happened 3 years ago. My father and brother went out with the dog.
I love that story. I love that
Oh
story.
yeah,
My mom always believes
seaside.
he'll come back, and so he's like already spooked. And the mom comes back and says, "Please understand, even though it's winter, we have the window open because they're coming back." And the guy's like, "Oh God, she's nuts." And then she says, "Oh look, here they are!" And he looks out and he sees them, and he runs. And the last line is brilliant. He just runs past them, and they come in and they say,
What's up
"Who
with
is that who left?" And says, "No, he had a bad experience with the dog when he was a kid." And
The niece was the one who did all this.
yeah, and see, the last line is, "Romance at short notice was a specialty." That's brilliant.
So I remember that one. It was televised very well. I think Pallavi Joshi plays the part of the niece.
Oh, it's a good play.
Have to check that.
Saki and O. Henry. I will check that out definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very good.
Hello, yeah.
Okay.
Cheers, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks. Thanks a
Bye.
lot, Shankar. Yeah. Yes. Bye.